All right, welcome everybody to Comprehensible Input with Technology. I'm Rachel Lucas. So I need to make sure that you guys can hear me. So if you can hear me, let me know where you're watching from and what language you teach. So if you're a world language teacher, what do you teach? All right. So we're going to get started in just a moment. And I've got a special guest with you today that's going to tell us, show us some really cool stuff and going to tell us about the CI Reboot Conference. So we'll bring her on in a few minutes, but I need to make sure you can hear me. I see some comments. Let's see. Paulino says that he can hear me. Hola, Paulino. So Paulino and I did an awesome workshop, you guys, about ChatGPT that's inside the Academy. That was so much fun. It's so great to see you, Paulino. And he is an ADI teacher. He teaches Spanish. I love it. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about a few things. If you're not a member of our free Facebook group, it's called Tech for World Language Teachers. Make sure after the live, not right now, stay right here, but after the live, head on over to the group and come join us. We have over 16,000 members, and I'm in there every day. If you have a question, you can ask. If I don't see it, one of our awesome members will see it. And also we share resources, ideas, and all kinds of things. So come on over and join us after the live. All right, so let's go ahead and bring our special guest today. Hold on, let me make sure I got this correct right here. So she's going to go ahead and help us talk about comprehensible input with technology, and her name is Karen Rowan. Hi, Karen, welcome.
Hi, Rachel.
Thanks for joining me.
Oh, yeah, I love all the stuff you do.
Yay.
Hi, everybody.
So I'm so excited because you have some really awesome things to show us. And you're going to talk to us about the online conference that's happening, the CI Reboot. So wherever you want to start, feel free to start there. And if you guys have comments and questions, make sure you put them in the comments. We'll be checking, okay?
Oh, I want to make sure I'm not echoing too. Is it okay?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, good. Hi, Michelle. We're doing the CI Reboot. It's the conference that's run through the IFLT NTPRS CI Teaching Facebook page. And that's we have a pre-conference starting next week, Monday through Thursday. We have one presentation each day. Jason Fritz, Hayun Liu, Justin Slocum Bailey, and Bertha Delgadillo each present for 1 hour each day. And that's just the pre-conference. The main conference, the CI Reboot, is July 10th through the 14th. And Rachel's presenting for us. She has presented every year on merging technology and comprehensible input. And I think as we've found more tech tools, we've gotten better at integrating our tech tools with our basis in comprehensible input. And I know there's a lot of different goals when you're teaching. Some of them are just to maintain your sanity. But when the goal is input, is providing input, because comprehensible input leads to language acquisition, some of those tech tools can be adapted, and some of them just need to serve different goals. Like if your goal is to teach your students how to work with more technology, then it doesn't matter what you're doing. But if it's if you want them to be able to acquire more language as they're using these tools, or use the tools to provide them with more comprehensible input, then some of them can be adapted more easily than others. Have you seen that, Rachel?
Yes. I'm sorry. Do you want me to screen share?
No, not yet.
Not yet. Okay.
No. All right. No, I brought an example. I started with Paulino had helped us with ChatGPT, so I started with an example. Is anyone a French teacher? I guess.
Rachel, you can see so let me check the comments. I'm seeing I see Chinese. Excellent. So yeah, let us know what you teach, because we love to see. I saw a couple Spanish teachers. Right here, moi, Jacqueline. She teaches.
Moi, good, a French teacher.
Yes, we have a lot of French
example on the tech group.
What
We
happened?
we have I started with a chat GPT tool that Paulino gave us, but I did it in English. Ooh, Hebrew. I did it
Oh,
in
good.
English, but I used French characters so that you'd see how I did it. So anyway, comprehensible input leads to language acquisition. And in order to be able to use any tool in the classroom, you have to have that really firm base in that, so that you understand that when you go to look at a tool, the first thing you do is, how can I use this to provide more input? So if what you're doing is saying, for example, remember we were talking about what's the thing that's called Flipgrid,
Yeah,
where you have
formally.
students log in
Perfect.
and see. Well, that's output. But Jason Fritz did a session for us on integrating that technology with the concept of providing more comprehensible input. And he goes in and he records a response to each of the students, and then teaches them how to put on the subtitles so they can read his response and they can hear his response. And then all of the students are required to go in and listen to his response to that student. So the student is sharing their personal information about, this is my pet, this is my favorite toy, whatever it is. He teaches elementary, but his response is in perfect Spanish, and it's all written out because it has subtitles with it. And so the students are reading what he said, listening to it, and responding to it. So it's really still about the teacher input, not about the output. The output is to get the personalized information. So I found this really cool tool that someone posted a while ago, and I've just been playing with it. So first I started with Chat GPT, and I'm not encouraging you to use that to replace yourselves or actual writing. I just went in for ideas because it will write a text messaging conversation. So you can go and say, I think my prompt was, write a modern text message conversation between Cyrano and Roxanne, in which Roxanne tells Cyrano that she's in love and asks for Cyrano's advice. So this was the first one. And then the app that you're using is called Texting Stories, and you have to do it on your phone. It won't download onto a computer, but you do it on your phone and you create it there. But if you start with Chat GPT, then you have kind of an idea of the conversation. And I did some editing. If you have a Mac, you can actually just copy it and paste it right into your phone, like copy here,
Wow,
paste here, copy, paste
yes,
here.
I love
So
that.
it was really fast, but I did a lot of editing because I was like, well, that's kind of what I meant, and not exactly. So I'll show you the first one, and then as you start to play with it, you can actually make it better. But it's providing input, and it's supposed to grab their attention. So you have two objectives when you're providing comprehensible input, and one of them is just giving them the reading, the input. Reading is so much faster than anything else we're doing. And our students, before they can read books, they're reading lots of other things. And so text messaging is something that they're really familiar with. My niece makes fun of me because I put punctuation and I write full sentences, and I use ellipses. And apparently you're not supposed to use ellipses
I'm
anymore.
the same way.
She sends me TikTok videos of making fun of people like me who use an ellipsis at the end of sentences and who punctuate everything and write full sentences. And then
Yeah.
I got one back that said FR, which it took me forever. I think it means for real.
Oh, okay.
That was it. I just thought about it for about 4 hours and then finally figured out what it meant. Anyway, I didn't write it like that. I wrote it like I do. So I can share the screen now, or you can.
Yeah, I'll.
So
All
texting
right. So you guys
stories.
can continue your screen.
Can I turn that volume off? Yeah. So you can hear the texting. And I wrote this in English so that you could see how it works. I didn't mute myself, did I? Just the
No, you're
slides.
fine.
You can hear the texting. So the second thing that you're trying to do is you're trying to grab their attention. So right now, if you're looking at it, wanting to know what happens next, I've got your attention, and you can get student attention this way. Obviously, you can't do this every day. Okay, so I'm going to pause here. So what I told ChatGPT to do was make sure that Christian's responses were all in the form of lyrics from Disney songs. So Cyrano's asking Roxanne, what did Christian say? And she says, this is what he said. And she's so moved by by what he's saying to her, but it's just lyrics from Disney songs. So that I can talk about, if you're actually teaching Cyrano, that you can talk about, Christian didn't have any of his own words. He got fed the words. So this is the same thing. When we cheat and we use someone else's words, it's kind of the same concept. So, but this is what this is. Does anyone want to hear the rest? I can't see the comments.
All right, let us know in the comments if you would like to hear the rest. And there is a slight delay, so they're probably they're just now getting it. And so let us know again in the comments. Do you want to hear the rest of the story? Do you want to find out what happens? Okay, we got some comments. Yes, they want to know.
Now, just like a movie talk, you're going to stop and ask questions. Obviously, this would not be in English. It would be in French. But you're just like a movie talk, you're going to stop and say, what is this? What is this from? Do you recognize these lyrics?
And that's the wonderful thing about using stories to teach, because not only are they getting the input, but they're engaged because they want to know, just like we want to know what's comes next. It's the same thing with the students. They're like, what's going to happen next? You know? So it's a very fun way to engage your students and really get them to learn.
So here's the next one. This is the next thing that Christian said, lyrics from a Disney song. So this was the first one that I wrote, and it's between Cyrano and Roxanne. And if you know this story, you know that Cyrano's in love with Roxanne and Roxanne's in love with Christian, and then Cyrano helps Christian to win over Roxanne. And so now she wants to hear him speak. So I have a lot to talk about and getting the base of this before. This would be a pre-reading strategy before we start reading the story or whatever you're teaching, a simplified version of it.
So you would do this first with them before you do the actual reading. You would kind of intro it this way. And then
because we want the reading to be comprehensible, and we can use technology to get them pulled into the idea of what's happening in these characters between these characters, among these characters, and also get it in their language. And their language is, I would let them make fun of how I text. All right, I want to show the other one.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And of course, you guys would do this in your target language. All right.
Absolutely. So, and you can even do that with ChatGPT if you don't want to write the whole thing yourself. But using the app, this texting story app, you can create characters and two different people who are talking to each other in any language. It doesn't matter. It's just about kind of getting familiar with the technology and how it works. But it's just like texting. You've probably seen some of those. Sometimes I go down a rabbit hole and I watch a few of them on Facebook or something that someone has done. Have you seen any of those?
No.
Okay, so I have one more. I'll send it to you too. And so I changed it then, same tech. I'm using the same tech tool because what I want to communicate is just the tech tools can be used in lots of different ways. Like, for example, did you see the other one? No, I'm looking for the second
one. This Siriano. Is that the one I'm supposed to see?
The one with Christian and
yeah, Roxanne.
That's the second one. This one's Roxanne and Sarah. The other one is with Christian. There's a second one.
Okay,
that's not it. That's the first one.
Okay, so it's showing me that the same one that you did, the one. So you might want to pull that one up.
I will. I'll pull the other one. So the idea is, and what's important about using this is that a lot of times I hear teachers say, I found this great tool. I gave it to my students so that they could create a texting story to share with the class. And now you've just taken a great tech tool and found a way to turn it into output instead of input. And it's not that it can't be used that way. It's just that it's a lot less likely to lead to language acquisition. Now, one of the things that is able to do is give you some downtime in your classroom so that you're not on the whole time providing comprehensible input. And if that's your goal, like you just need a little sanity here, go try this, then that's different. But if what you're trying to do is accomplish this goal of getting using the tech tools to provide more comprehensible input, then this is a way that it'll work. But let me show you the other one, because I can build a whole story with this and it has more techniques. I think I'm just going to go back to that where I sent it to you on Facebook, because I'm not finding it on here. And I think I named it.
I guess
I'll just re-download it so I can find it faster.
Okay. So yeah, while she's doing that, so yeah, her and I were talking about the other day how back in the day it was basically a lot of the teachers that were doing comprehensible input. It was all themselves in front of the kids on the board, and now you don't have to teach that way. Not that you have to leave that behind, but you can also incorporate technology so that you can take a break. All right, let's see if it's going to come up.
You can, so I'm going to start again. I'm going to share screen. And I want to share this. Can I share just one video? Look at me being so great with technology in a technology presentation. Video file.
Oh yeah, it's fine because at least the tech is working. Okay, the last two lives I've done, we've had frozen screens and everything. Okay, ready?
Oh no! All right, see if this one works. Now here's the difference in this one. You can hear the typing. I'm going to turn it off, but what's different in this one is that I turned on the function to show the editing. Oops. So I turned it on to show the editing. So you can not only see what he was writing, but how he edited it. So he wrote 3 different things. He's trying to rhyme. And so you can kind of see like the process of him trying to figure out what rhymes. And so you can give more input because they are going to keep watching because he's typing and then deleting and typing and deleting. So you get more input by making mistakes and having them rewrite it. And all this is to make this happen is one button. You click a button and it says show edits. And so it's showing the edits as you're writing it. And again, this is an app that's on your phone. You download it, you do everything on your phone, and you pull it in from wherever. Like you can even copy it into something else and paste it. But I got all these ideas. Okay, so this right here, like he's not able to rhyme with strong. My love will never fail. It will never go wrong. It will wrong rhymes. So that if you're doing it in another language, and then watch her. I tried several times to have her type rhyming, and she didn't know how to spell it, so she said poet. So you can make all those mistakes, and you've got them paying attention not just to the writing, but also to the mistakes, so that and you can slow it down too, so the texting can go more slowly or more quickly. I set it on, I think, medium for this, which is too fast unless you're pausing it in a class. But every time I've shown these, I've had to stop them and pause them. But every time I've shown them, I can see like all the attention just being pulled into it, because it's a story that is doing what brain research says we need. We want to know what comes next. And until our brains can resolve that, like what comes next, until our brains can resolve it, we have attention. That's why in a movie talk, when you show them the whole movie and then you try to narrate it, you have no attention. But if you show them a clip and then you stop it and then you talk about it and ask questions, and then you show a little bit more, you've got their attention because they don't know what happens next. So in, like Rachel was saying, we never used to do anything like this. We used to do only, a overhead projector or a chalkboard behind us and write the words. So it'll start over again. So it doesn't really remove. So it doesn't really matter like what your tool is, as if you have that idea of providing comprehensible input. Like the objective is to provide more input that they are understanding. And now your challenge and how technology helps is being able to get their attention, and that, which I think is harder now. That's, at least that's what I'm seeing. Does that feel right to everybody?
I think it, and so yeah, we have some comments. So one of the comments is, it's the app free.
Yes, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And you can download it. It's available for download for both Android and Apple devices. So I'm actually going to put the link for you guys in the comments.
But don't try and go to it on a computer, because it will just say this app is not available on this device. Click here to see a list of devices. But on your phone, it works. Paulino said more, please. More what?
Paulina, is it? Vivian's like, yay, it's free. I know. Don't we love free stuff?
Yeah. Yeah, and it's not that this is like the best app that there is. It's the idea of first looking at the app to see how it could be used to provide input. And if you find an app that really can't be used to provide input, then maybe that's a tool you don't use as for class time. If it's fun and they want to use it on their own, that's different. But I think that we have so little class time, so little contact time, and we know how much faster comprehensible input is. But we also know how much harder it is to keep their attention.
I
have it downloaded here.
Harder. Yeah.
All right. So well, I'm happy to share these. I think there's not that they'll help. I have one in Spanish that is inappropriate for children. It's about our teacher who didn't show up for class because she missed her plane in Hawaii. And so we were talking about why. And so she's on the beach drinking pina coladas. It's not appropriate for kids. But that one, and then I did one in I've done these with characters. So my idea is that we could save each other a lot of time if we picked books that we are all already teaching. And then we're able to share those pre-teaching text messages. And I think if we all use it all the time, it'll stop being novel and it'll stop attracting attention. But if you're working on a book, like if someone's working on Cyrano, go ahead and use that idea. I don't know who's teaching Cyrano, but I can do it for Don Quixote in Spanish, so that it's between Dulcinea and Don Quixote, but I change it to where it's a text messaging conversation. He had a lot of really poetic things that he was saying to her that are easy to put into text messages.
Yes, I love it. And Vivian says that this is great for warm-ups too, and for her native speakers. Yes, there's so many ways that you can use this with your students. So yeah.
And I'm not, and I'm not saying that you should not. At the beginning of the live, we talked about the CI reboot. We'll do it again at the end. You're good. I'm not saying that you shouldn't say, hey, this is your end of book project. You are going to write a texting conversation between two characters. I'm not saying don't do that, but just that everything that you use a tech tool for, you should know what your objective is. Is your objective language acquisition, or is it assessment? If it's output, you're assessing something. Can they do this? And that amount of time should be very, very small compared to all the time that you're spending on input. If you are assessing, it should be checking to see what they can do, and then kind of recycling what they can't do back into your next piece of input. So it's more for me than it is for them when I'm checking to see what they can already do. Teaching adults makes it a lot of fun. How do I monitor them? Yeah, I don't. I use this on my screen. I write the conversation and I project it on my screen, and I go, I'm a Mac and iPhone person, so I AirDrop my text messaging conversation from my phone. There's a button at the bottom that says share, but you can share it to Facebook, you can share it to Twitter, you can share it to anything, but I share it to AirDrop and I drop it on my computer and then I put it in a presentation and prop it up on the screen. It does not take as long as I'm making it sound like it takes. It's really quick, but you could also just send it to yourself and then to your computer. It's best for pre-reading because you're trying to get them interested in whatever it is you're going to do next. You're trying to pull their attention into whatever it is that you are trying to teach them. And the idea that, like, for me, the objective is always reading. I want them to read more away from technology. I want them to have a book in their hand and go, wow, I totally understand this book and I like it. There's books that start with hooks. We're just trying to get the hook. Where there are books that start with hooks and there are books that don't. And so you're creating a hook that's going to pull them in and make them want to read. My objective is to make binge readers. I want my students reading outside of class. I want them to go, can I take this home? I want them to be wanting to read over the summer because they've just discovered that they're capable of reading, that reading is comprehensible, and that they want to read more. We get vocabulary 10 to 12 times faster through reading than through what we're hearing. We pick up vocabulary and sentence structure and grammar mostly through what we read. So yeah.
What would you say to someone, because it took me years to make the transition to a more comprehensible type of way of my students learning and me incorporating, because I used to think my students weren't going to be able to do it. I used to be strictly the textbook and vocabulary and grammar and those kinds of things. And then I started incorporating more of comprehensible input and actually reading novels like Bobadiana and some other ones. And it was crazy. We've actually read yours, one of yours. I forget which one, but yeah. And so it's, how would you, someone who's maybe fearing or what's the best way that you would recommend to transition? Because I know I used to be afraid and I used to think my students weren't going to be able to do it and they were going to get frustrated and give up. So what is your recommendation for someone who's maybe getting started with comprehensible input?
First, come to the CI Reboot because that was not a little question. That was a huge.
Sorry.
I'm watching the clock run down going, that was a 2-day workshop question. So the CI Reboot, like, we're doing all of those things and we have so many people who are coming to address exactly those things. So if you feel like you're where Rachel is, like, how do you start? I'll answer the question in a short way, but that's what we're trying to do, is give people enough training and tools that they can not just come and attend, but also at the end of each day, talk with other people. So if you're teaching a language that's less commonly taught, there's actually a Hebrew demo and a Mandarin demo. But if you want, here's the first question, the first answer. There is a video that you can go to fluencyfast.com and click on Spanish classes, and it's a free 90-minute Spanish class. If you go in there, you also get the transcript. But if you don't even care about the transcript, you can just go to YouTube. It's also uploaded to YouTube. There's just no handouts with it. So I think it's a little bit better inside the website. And it starts from day one, minute one, with Mandarin teachers who had very little English. And so I was teaching Spanish to Mandarin teachers, and I couldn't use a lot of English as to teach cognates. So, and I was entirely in Spanish. I think I clocked myself at 98%. It might've been 97%, but that's what's in the handout, is telling you exactly what was covered. If you can do that from day one, minute one, with people that you have no real overlapping language with, you can do it at any point. The point isn't focusing so much on the input, although it is. It's the comprehensible. So you only use the words they already know, and that's pre-teaching and then using it in context. pre-teaching a little bit more and using it in context. So when we're talking about trying to get to a book, first you go and you find the words that they don't know, and you teach those first, and you forget about the book. So by the time they get to the book, you've pre-taught all those words through TPR, total physical response, through little stories, through little tiny readings. I'm not sure that younger kids are going to get text messaging as much or be able to read that fast, but you could still do it really short, like really, really short. I learned MDR from text messaging conversations in my French class because it means like LOL in English. And so you can still teach them some of those vocabulary words. But it's a huge question. But the answer is, the more comprehensible input you're providing, the more language acquisition is going to happen. So if you feel like you're not providing as much as you want to, then provide a little bit more. And the way that I coach people to do that is first find out how much you are speaking in the target language in class. And that means objectively time yourself. Find out exactly how many minutes of each class you are spending in the target language. And then ask your students how much they're understanding. Did you understand everything I said today? Did you understand like half of what I said? And track that over a whole week. That's your starting point. Don't change anything. Just do whatever you're doing. And that's your starting point. And your goal is to increase it, not to go to 100% comprehensible input overnight. Just increase it. If you're speaking in the target language 30%, try to get to 50, try to get to 70, try to get to 80, but don't try to go all the way right away. You assign them a partner to work with. I'm not sure I've got enough context to answer that question.
So she was saying, like, because you do it where you show the screen. So I think what she was thinking is that you have the students download the app and do it themselves. And do you assign them a partner to work with to create the things? That's not the way I understood you were using it. You were doing it.
No, I'm not using this as an output. I'm the one using the app. I'm not having them use the app. I'm providing it as a reading activity and projecting it. And someone just said with a Promethean that you can actually go straight from your phone to the board. How fun is that? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Those of you that are lucky enough to have those boards. Yeah. If you're in a school that has good tech.
That'll save you a step. But then once you start doing it, like one of the reasons I had trouble finding what I was doing right here was I only labeled one of them. Label them so that you can go back and keep them in folders. You can reuse all of them. And then you can start working with a book. Do a couple for each book. And so that you've got something kind of interesting to talk about. Yes. And then I discuss it. I stop and I ask them what they think is going to happen next. And I try and put something in there that is you kind of have to figure out. Like I wouldn't tell them that these were Disney lyrics that he's replying with. I would wait and have them go, wait. I wouldn't tell them right out loud that he's rhyming. I would let them figure out, oh, everything rhymes.
Hey, this sounds familiar.
Right.
Much more fun that way.
All right. So Rachel, what are you talking about at the CI Reboot?
So I'm going to be talking about some tech tools for teaching with CI. So I did something similar last year, and then I did a whole kind of course for my community. So I'm going to pick a couple of the tools from there and just kind of show you guys how I've been using them with my students very successfully to provide comprehensible input in ways that are fun and engaging, and that they actually thank me for, believe it or not. So yeah, it's so great because I used to really struggle with my teaching. I used to have a lot of kids, especially when I taught high school, where they would be like, this is so stupid. Why do we have to learn this? This is America. And remember, I said at the beginning, I was teaching from the book and strictly, and just focusing on grammar. And the more I started growing my skill set and incorporating those things into my classroom, the more fun and engaging my classroom became. And but also the more language acquisitions my students got, the better they were doing in the exams. So at the end of the year. So yeah, it just really has been such a wonderful thing merging the two, comprehensible input and technology. So yeah, I'm going to be talking about that. Some free tools, because I know that
Good
it is
question.
tough. We're on a budget as
Good
teachers,
question, always. Uh-huh.
so I'm
Some
going
of
to
them
talk
are
about.
totally worth it. Totally worth it. It'll
Yes,
save you so much time. And you mentioned last year, Senior Wooly, like that's just a whole
totally
extra
worth
piece
it.
of input. Totally worth it. And
Yes,
so, but
totally.
when you add up a lot of the tech tools, then yeah, it doesn't make sense. The schools should
You're
be
like,
paying for those.
they should. So I'm going to be talking about some free ways that you can easily incorporate more comprehensible input, and then some other, some tools that if you want. And I'm going to focus more on giving you actual demos, and how to like. Last year I kind of talked about it, and this year I want to do more like, this is how you do it. This is exactly how I'm doing it with my students. So I'm going to kind of demo, and it's going to be interactive. So I hope you guys will come to my sessions, and on the CI Reboot. I'm going to be presenting on Tuesday, July 11th, 10:15 Pacific, and also July 14th. So I'm going to be doing twice. So and that's why, because I want to make sure that I have time to really answer questions and really show and demonstrate these tools for you. Because sometimes we hear about it, and we're like, oh my God, that sounds amazing. And then you're like, I don't know where to start. You got the idea, but then you don't know how to go implement it. So I want to make sure that you guys have not just the idea, but know how to actually take it and implement it with your students. So I'm putting the link for the CI Reboot. And if it is, you want to tell them about it, like how much it costs and everything they're going to get and all that stuff.
So if you want information on it, if you want to see what the content is, you're going to go to fluencyfast.com/CI Reboot. That's where you're going to go if you want to.
Can you see my screen?
Because the schedule is not here. But when you go to register, don't register there. Register here, because this will give you $10 off if you go through Rachel's link. So Rachel has this, right, see where it says 149 crossed out to 139. That's the only way to do that, is to go through the people who are presenting and affiliates for the conference. So the idea of the CI Reboot is to bring in presenters from all over. We are still online. We started, of course, during the pandemic when no one could travel and all the conferences were canceled. And then continued to do it online, not just because we can get people from all over who don't have to pay to travel. They don't have to stay in a hotel. They don't have to pay they can use their money for a vacation instead of a work trip. And so it's not just that, but it's also that we can get presenters from all over. So we have presenters coming from Canada and Europe and Japan and China. So everywhere they're able to come in and share their wisdom and their information without having to pay to come present. So but the idea behind the conference is that we are merging all of the things, all of the tools that are helping teachers. And one is the comprehension-based methods. And obviously we're working with technology because we're even online. But the other is we have a lot of people who are coming in to speak who have a big background in DEI and decolonization and are looking at the materials that we have all been using to provide comprehensible input for years and saying, hey, this isn't really representing everyone. Here's what we could be doing differently. And so there's a lot of people who are coming in just because they have this expertise on content. And it doesn't really matter what the content is. Comprehensible input is not tied to TPR stories the way that we have been tying them before. It can be any kind of content. It can be content from technology. It can be books. It can be current events. It can be primary sources. The trick is that we have to be able to make it comprehensible in order for it to actually lead to language acquisition. And it's important to sign up this week because we have some presenters who are also presenting at another conference the same week, July 10th through the 14th. And we asked them to come early and do a pre-conference for us, and that is included. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of next week, we have 4 presenters coming to just present for an hour. And make sure you pay attention to Pacific time. Pacific time is California time, and then you have to add your time. It's 2:30 Pacific time next week. Are there recordings? Yes, they're all inside of Teachable, so which is the same platform that that Rachel uses. So they'd have to be recorded because there are 3 at the same time during that last week. But go ahead and get your $10 off on there. We also have advanced Spanish classes that are running this next week, the same week as the CI Reboot. If you'd like to, if you're a Spanish teacher who wants to work on your Spanish with Adriana Ramirez and Diana Castro, and those are at Fluency Fast.
Which I love that you offer the Spanish classes and stuff, because I know there are a lot of Spanish teachers that it's like their second language and they're teaching, and sometimes confidence it's a factor. I'm a native speaker. I was born in the United States, but I grew up in Puerto Rico and Dominican Republic. And even I'm like, oh my gosh, because of everybody says different words certain ways and things like that. So anyway, so yeah, I love that. Okay.
I think all Spanish teachers, particularly those who are non-native teachers, non-native speakers, they need to be reading. And they need to be working on their advanced Spanish. I watch a lot of Netflix in Spanish. You have to always be working on it because it's never going to be native speaker level. And I think I'm sure there are some exceptions, but I don't ever feel like I'm going to reach a native speaker level. So I work at it. So we have to work on our own language, the language we teach, and I'm also learning French.
Yeah. I want to learn French also. I've been on the apps learning.
I'm going to the Agen workshop in Agen, France in July, and I need to brush up as fast as I can, which means I'm doing a lot more input. That's it. I'm not trying to do anything else, but just more input.
Yeah, and I love watching like on Netflix and there's you can do that. Also YouTube, there's an app, you guys. I think I've shared about it or not. I don't know. The Language Reactor app, it's an extension that you can do YouTube videos, and it will go ahead and do that. And that's also something else I'm going to be talking about. So some ways that AI can help you incorporate comprehensible input. So I'll be sharing those in my session. So I hope to see you guys there. I put the link. So if you want to get $10 off and save, the link is in the comments so that you guys can register and also take advantage of the conference. So you're definitely going to want to make sure that you take advantage of those sessions. So so you can register at the link. It's really awesome. What happened?
I can get you in if you register by Sunday, but it'll be in your Teachable account. In case I miss you, it'll be in your Teachable account, the link to be able to watch live. What's the name of the extension? There are 2. You're talking about the YouTube one. Is that the same one that does Netflix? Because you can do one.
The Language Reactor. It's yes, that's what it's so good, you guys. So yeah, it's a Chrome extension called Language Reactor. And it's so, if you're looking for, that's, you can use that. So let me put it in there.
This is so much fun, Rachel.
I know. I can't wait. It's going to be even, let me make sure I'm typing that right. So, so I can't wait to do a session again. I had so much fun last year. And I can't wait to do it again this year with you guys. It's going to be
one of my favorite parts is the end. We're having language demos this year, first thing in the morning, that we're calling tastings. So you can come try out lots of different techniques. Lots of people teach different ways, and so you can try it. I think it's 8 different languages. But thing that I like the most is talking at the end of the day. We just like all gather and just chat. And it's nice to have the ability to go, hey, I have this resource. Do you, like, all the things we wish we could do right now where we're going, I want to go try this. And then we can work together.
Yeah, and they put it, and I love how you guys like help each other, and you put like they've already put the link in the comments. I love it. And see, that's what's so great about this community, you guys. So again, if you're not a member of our free Facebook group, you see that right there is what you need to come join, because it's really the only place on the I don't know, internet that I know of that is specifically focused for technology and language learning and sharing tips. And see how like I was like, oh, it's this app, and somebody went and put it in right away. And that's what we do. We help each other and share ideas like we're doing right now. So yeah, and I love to share ideas. I love having people come on. See, I learned something new. I loved what you shared, and then I take that and I incorporate it with my students, and it just makes my teaching so much easier. And that's what we're here to do, to help make your life a little bit easier, because teaching is hard, you know. And it seems like it just gets harder sometimes with as technology and more stuff gets on our plates. Yeah, it just gets a little more challenging. But thankfully, these types of strategies and tools help us to make it a little bit easier. So we're so glad that you loved it. So if you want more, if you love this and you want more awesome stuff, then I highly recommend that you go ahead and register for the CI Reboot, because not only do you get to attend the sessions live, but you will have the recording, so that if you're like, oh no, I can't make all the live lessons, no sessions, no worries. You can go and watch at your own time. And summer is a great time to do that, to catch up on PD and all that, and prepare for the upcoming school year. And if you want $10 off, then make sure you use my link, and then you will get that special coupon link. All right. Well,
And I'll go
thanks so
watch
much.
this in case there are any questions I missed. I didn't watch them. So if I missed anything, I'll go back and reply to them.
Yes, thank you everybody who showed up live. I'll send this if you're an email. Let me go ahead and put you. Let me get my websites. If you're not a member of my email community, I'm going to put the link in the comments, so that because I am going to send this out to everybody. Plus, I send out all kinds of resources. So if you're not a member of the email community, I just put the link in the comments. Go to techforworldlanguageteachers.com, and you'll see on the front page, you'll see a free course, a classroom management course, that you can sign up for the course, and you'll get added to the email community. And I'll be sending this video recording to you guys as well. Oh, we're so grateful that you enjoyed this and got value out of it. That's what we always hope. We strive to bring value, and hope make your life a little bit easier, your teaching life anyways. So anyway, well, thank you so much, Karen, for coming on and sharing those awesome tips and telling us a little bit more about the
I'll watch
conference.
if anybody makes them. I want to see what you make, but I think I can also share these videos, so I'll go post them.
Yes. Oh, do you want to send me the videos, and I can like I should be able. Can I don't know. Can you upload them to like YouTube, or I can upload them or something? And then we'll share the links. I'll share the recording, and I'll share the links. Your video links as well. Does that make sense?
Whatever you want. You can put them in the platform. We can put them on the Facebook page. Whatever. I mean, they're in English, so they're not like something I'll teach. I'll change them first before I use them. Okay.
Yeah. Awesome.
Thanks, everybody.
Right.
Thank you, Rachel.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, everybody, for coming, and have an awesome week. And don't forget to sign up for the CI Reboot, which is going to be awesome, the conference. So I will see you there, I hope. Thanks, everybody. Bye.